This is the Randi Rhodes Show. To speak with Randi, dial 561-270-3844. That's 561-270-3844.
Oh, here's some breaking news. Okay, and you're going to have to, riddle me this one. Here's a Democratic senator, ex-senator, Robert Menendez from New Jersey, okay? Married this this younger woman, a foreign wife. They grifted. They grifted like crazy. White-collar crime everywhere, okay? Bribery, corruption charges, all the usual things that Trump does but doesn't go to jail for. Robert Menendez just got sentenced. Now, he was found guilty, but the sentencing was, it's always 3 months later. There's a little handy thing to know. So he got sentenced today. You know what they gave him? 11 years in prison. 11 years in prison on federal bribery and corruption charges. But that's because, he's Robert Menendez, the Democrat from New Jersey. You see, and if you're a violent criminal, not just a white collar fraudster who rips off, people who want to learn real estate, or not just a guy who runs a fraudulent charity and rips off people because, they want to give to Trump. They want to help the Trump Foundation, because they think they do good things. Not just because, his casino never made a profit. And, it was literally the house always wins. That's how bad he was at business. But if you are a Republican doing white-collar crime, oh, pshaw. I mean, we don't give a rat's ass. But if you're a Democrat doing white-collar crime, bye-bye. See you in Attica. And you know what? He deserves it. He deserves it. If a jury found him guilty of bribery and corruption, then I actually support the citizens. Okay? I support a jury of my peers. I really do. However, here's Donald Trump releasing violent criminals. Violent, freaking, marauding criminals engaged in trying to overthrow our government with bear spray, and God only knows what kind of spray, and the right hockey sticks, and stealing the shields of police officers and beating them with their own shields, throwing fire hydrants at their head, fire extinguishers, not hydrants, fire extinguishers at their head. Do you know what I mean? All on videotape. Armed, dangerous, cattle prods, you name it, and they're released for our safety. But, of course, the 200 Colombians that were deported on a military flight, handcuffed throughout the entire flight, none of them were criminals. 2 of them were pregnant women, and 20 of them were children. Because it's for your safety. So that's a known. Why in the world does Robert Kennedy get the nod from a Donald Trump? If all of that is true about Donald Trump, and it is, then why would he want Robert Kennedy Jr. to be the Health and Human Services Secretary? He's not a doctor. He's not a scientist. He's not an epidemiologist. He doesn't know anything about anything except for what he knows from suing companies and representing people, defendants, and then making money off of doing that. That's his area of expertise. It's what Robert Kennedy knows how to do, and he does it really well. But if Robert F. Kennedy isn't willing to say, because, the Secretary of Health and Human Services is going to sue pharmaceutical companies. That's going to happen. But it's called a conflict of interest when the lawsuit that you brought as a person who serves in government, who's using the awesome powers of the United States government forms, government paper, government reports, government, National Institutes of Health, research papers, all at his disposal now. And he won't say that he won't enrich himself by doing things like that because he's a grifter. That's why Donald Trump is drawn to him. He's a grifter. He has a good message, but he's completely discredited because he has a conflict. The conflict of interest that everybody knows can't exist in open, transparent government. The kind of conflict of interest that Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has is knowable. And Elizabeth Warren laid it out. And she's like, listen, because he had just testified that he wanted the American people to know that he can't be bought, right? She said, but you go online, you do commercials to encourage people to sign up with Wisner Bound to join lawsuits against vaccine makers. And for everyone who signs up, you personally get paid. And if they win their case, you get 10% of what they win. If you bring in somebody that gets a reward, gets an award from a court of $10 million, you walk away with $1 million. Will you say that your decisions will not depend on how much money you could make in the future? And he wouldn't say it. And so I just want to drill it into your heads how many ways there are for the Secretary of Health and Human Services to hand off to a law firm where his son works information that he now has access to, government, paper, seriously, with the HHS secretary, emblazoned on the sheet of paper, right, which gives it this air of authenticity and this air of, credibility to enrich himself. And he won't say he won't do it.
You could publish your anti-vaccine conspiracies, but this time on U.S. government letterhead, something a jury might be impressed by. You could appoint people to the CDC vaccine panel who share your anti-vax views and let them do your dirty work. You could tell the CDC vaccine panel to remove a particular vaccine from the vaccine schedule. You could remove vaccines from special compensation programs, which would open up manufacturers to mass torts. You could make more injuries eligible for compensation even if there is no causal evidence. You could change vaccine court processes to make it easier to bring junk lawsuits. You could turn over FDA data to your friends at the law firm, and they could use it however it benefited them. You could change vaccine labeling. You could change vaccine information rules. You could change which claims are compensated in the vaccine injury compensation program. There's a lot of ways that you can influence those future lawsuits and pending lawsuits while you are Secretary of HHS. And I'm asking you to commit right now that you will not take a financial stake in every one of those lawsuits so that what you do as Secretary will also benefit you financially down the line.
I'll comply with all the ethical guidelines.
That's not the question. You and I, you have said
You're asking me, Senator, you're asking me not to sue vaccine pharmaceutical companies. Yeah, you are. That's exactly what you're doing.
Health. Look, no one should be fooled here. As Secretary of HHS, Robert Kennedy will have the power to undercut vaccines and vaccine manufacturing across our country. And for all of his talk about follow the science and his promise that he won't interfere with those of us who want to vaccinate his kids, the bottom line is the same. Kennedy can kill off access to vaccines and make millions of dollars while he does it. Kids might die, but Robert Kennedy can keep cashing in.
Senator, I support vaccines. I support the childhood schedule. I will do that. The only thing I want is good science, and that's it.
How about then say you won't make money off what you do as Secretary of HHS?
He won't say it. He wouldn't say it the whole time. She questioned him for 8 minutes. It was unbelievable. It's something you should actually see. You should watch it. You should look at it. You can go to C-SPAN. You can find it. Some of it was already posted, and it was taken down. It was taken down. Things are disappearing off the internet like crazy now, like crazy. So it's making it doubly hard to find the entirety of the testimony on the C-SPAN. It's been replaced with another video. I find this just so creepy and fascinating at the same time. But this is why he's the wrong guy with the right message. I mean, Holman is like that too, although he's there's something wrong with that guy. The guy who's made border czar, like we have czars and czarinas now. But anyway, border czar Holman, he's like, if you are in this country illegally, you are a criminal. No, that's a civil infraction. You know what I'm saying? But he wants to be able to meet a quota that Donald Trump just randomly set, pulled it out of his giant double butt, Yeah, his butt's so big he could put the McDonald's and the Diet Coke on it. He should name the butt. The butt is like another person. It's like a table, you know, it like sits beside him. But anyway, he pulled this number out of his butt and he said, this is how many people I want arrested every single day. But we don't have that many criminals. Well, if you're here illegally, you're a criminal. No, you're not. And they keep repeating it. They just keep repeating it until people are going to start believing it. That pregnant women and unborn children are criminals. Don't have time to listen to the live show? Want to hear more on your schedule? Go to randyrhodes.com and buy a stinking podcast.